Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody on planet Earth. I hope you're all doing well today, including Meghan and Harry. Believe it or not, I don't want them to be unhappy, and I don't believe any of you guys do either. There has been a flood of information coming forward, so there's a lot to cover. And yes, I am wearing the same t-shirt 3 days in a row. It has been in the washing machine, but I'm going shopping later with young Faith. Last minute Christmas shopping in Gibraltar, and if it's open we might be going to the Garrison Library in Gibraltar, which is fabulous. It's fabulous. I don't know if any of you guys have ever heard of the ghost ship, the famous ghost ship, the Marie Celeste, which was found unoccupied. Big mystery there. The reason I bring that up is because it was salvaged and towed to Gibraltar, and there was a court case over whether they could have it for salvage, and there were accusations of murder and stuff, and all the court documents are in the Garrison Library, so, and we have access to that. So I love the story of the Marie Celeste. Right, so much to get through. I think I'll start off with, I've actually made notes. I'm trying to be organised today. I was wrong, there were YouTubers mentioned in the last 3 episodes, but one of them I have absolutely never seen before. One was Shallon Lester, who I haven't watched in ages, and I've just realised I was always subscribed to her. I just have not received any notifications in the last 2 or 3 years. YouTube. So I'll be checking up on Shallon. She's a fabulous YouTuber, by the way. She's very fair, very balanced. She used to work for one of the magazines, I think Star Magazine. So she gives an insight into when stories are leaked, and I believe she said it is invariably the celebrity themselves when they say, "Oh, shocker!" Right. So, and the other lady, I think I might have seen her before. So I think they were, but they were like blink, 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 and you missed them. Really, there was hardly anything. This morning, I like to look up all sorts of things on the markets all the time. I don't invest in shares or anything like that. But it's a subject I like to sort of keep an eye on markets, because years ago I got caught out when I was in my 20s. I didn't know anything about the markets, and we had something called a recession, and I ended up stuck in negative equity for 10 years in my flat. So ever since that experience, I've thought I'm going to keep an eye on what's going on the markets and what makes certain things move, and it's quite a fascinating subject. I see that Netflix. Oh, Graham.
Yeah.
Can I borrow your phone a minute, please?
Yeah.
Because there's an article in Sky News, in pretty much every publication. Netflix apparently lost 11.5 billion off their stock yesterday. I'll just get that up. So I found that quite shocking. Now, the reasons, because newspaper articles will have theories, why has this happened? Apparently it was 8%. So I'll just get the article up. And apparently yesterday Netflix said that their advertising revenue is disappointing. And so that's what's being attributed to this huge plummet. Now I do go on and I do look at Netflix shares, and that is for the last 5 days. Now I don't know if you can see that. I don't think you can. It's just too dark. The sun is just too darn bright. It's finally stopped raining. They're at 290.41 at the moment. There was a plummet yesterday, absolute plummet. So I'll see if, yes, I've got it here, Sky News, so I'm quoting Sky News. Netflix, 11.5 billion wiped off streamers' stock market value as ad-funded service gets off to a bad start. Thursday's decline in Netflix shares, Thursday, that was yesterday when the last 3 episodes dropped, okay? Decline in Netflix shares means that they have fallen more than 51% so far this year. One might have thought, to judge from the acres of newsprint and hours of airtime devoted to its documentary about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, that this would be a boom time for Netflix. Not so. Shares of the streaming giant fell by more than 8% this afternoon, wiping 11.5 billion from its stock market value on a report that its new advertising funded services has gotten off to a poor start. Well, Is it a coincidence that there was suddenly that jump off a cliff round about midday yesterday after everyone had had a chance to watch the first 3 episodes? Is it a coincidence, or is it that Netflix generally for the last couple of years has been pumping out arty-farty nonsense that I don't understand? And what is it with a lot of their shows? I'll watch something and you've got to give the first episode a chance, which is an hour normally. And then it'll all be perfectly normal, everything's going well, and then suddenly one of the main characters will rip their knickers off and sit on the toilet. And I'm like, I don't want to see somebody on the toilet, or someone will suddenly produce a knife at a coffee morning and hack the hand off another guest. And I'm like, oh, and I don't mind watching horror films and stuff. I'm not a tender heart, but it just, they suddenly do something like that. And I think, why do you have to be so graphico? How does that enhance the story? It's quite revolting, actually. So, Netflix had a bad day yesterday, as if things were not bad enough. Just thought I'd put that out there for what it's worth. What really interested me, and I'll have to get this one up on Graham's phone. I can see I'm not organised at all. I should have done all of this before, and I'll have to go to my own YouTube channel, because sure enough, as soon as I posted this on my community last night, I went back to find it and it disappeared. It got drowned out by a load of other articles that had come out. So I'll just find, oh yeah, Graham does subscribe to me still, because YouTube have unsubscribed me from Graham and Graham from me, and we're married, so we notice these things. This came out in Marca, which apparently is a Spanish magazine. Now, I've criticised Marca in the past for pumping out puff pieces for Meghan and Harry, or perhaps they're not paid puff pieces, perhaps they're just really in support. This headline in Marca last night says Prince Harry and Meghan Markle reportedly planted stories in media against the Queen. It turns out Meghan Markle and Harry were also planting stories against the royal family all along, and there's proof, which apparently there is. An alarming report coming from Radar Online. Now, I'm not familiar with Radar, I've heard of them. Is that a tabloid thing? Are they reliable? I have no idea. Coming from Radar Online, reveals foul play from Prince Harry and Meghan Markle against Queen Elizabeth II. Before her passing, there are LAPD secret record that described how the Duke and Duchess of Sussex were in bed with media outlets to attack the Queen. This media outlet obtained a Freedom of Information request filed by the Los Angeles Police Department, in which a spin doctor for the Sussexes was revealed as the source of the information. Well, I'm thinking, what information? So of course I read on. Later, this spokesperson was reported and credited as a friend of the royal couple, but his role is far more sinister than just an aide to the couple. According to Radar Online, this person leaked Harry and Meghan's whereabouts when they allegedly tried to hide from the media. The Daily Beast's Tom Sykes broke the story of their time in Tyler Perry's 12-bathroom Tuscan villa style. As it turns out, this person who helped the couple was the one who leaked their location to Sykes in order to get that scoop. Now, I find that paragraph quite confusing, but for the internet detectives and investigative journalists that we have in our community, such as Murky Meg and Sue Smith, Duchess of Sussex, and if I've missed anyone else out, I am sorry, but if you could look into that, there is a link on my community post, and if anyone can explain that to me. Daily Beast, they're ones that do puff pieces, are they? For Meghan and Harry, I think they have. I don't know who Tom Sykes is. So that brings me to another aspect of the Netflix documentary. I mean, there were lots of shots of Harry looking very nervously out of the window when they were in the mansion in Canada at one boat on the lake. I mean, it was one boat. It was a little rib. And the first few shots they showed, I couldn't even tell if any of the two occupants of that one singular boat had cameras or not. But on one of the later shots, it did appear that one guy had a camera with a zoom lens. But he could have been bird spotting It was hardly like the days of Princess Diana, where there were swathes of boats and jet skis, and it very much came across to me throughout the documentary that Meghan plays on Harry's paranoia, and it takes very, very little to wind Harry up and make him paranoid and fearful. And I think that's actually quite cruel. When someone is already fearful and paranoid, what you should be saying to them is, it's fine, come on, there's nobody there. That would be a kind and a nice thing to say to prevent them from becoming agoraphobic, which, by the way, I have been 2 times in my life. Obviously I got over it, but when you suffer from agoraphobia and you're fearful of going outside of the house, you really do begin to feel like a prisoner in your own home, and it is a head and mind bending experience. Same as when they were in the car and he kept looking around and she kept saying, oh, there's a paparazzi on a moped. Oh yeah, you can't see him, but he's there. He's following us still, and I think that's very cruel. If I ever met anyone else with agoraphobia, the last thing I'd do is say, don't go outside the house, everybody's going to kill you. You're just, a nice person doesn't do that. But I'm going to come to Meghan in a minute. So that's the Marker article, and if you go to, as I say, my community, you will see that's there. Right. Harry's mental state, right? I've already started on this. I agree with Lady C. If things are piled on too much more to Harry, I personally genuinely fear that he might take his own life. It's serious, and I think everybody needs to bear that in mind. Yes, he has done some inordinately inadvisable things. Yes, he's been a spoilt little brat, but you've got to look at how his life, how he's grown up in a bubble, really. He's met this lady, she's gotten inside his head, she's persuaded them that their lives are under threat. What a dumb move, as Lady C pointed out, that if he felt not safe, why did he leave the safety of castles and palaces which are heavily guarded, and the safety of the United Kingdom that were paying for their security? Why on earth would you move to a foreign country, expect that country to foot the bill for your security, be surprised when they say they're not going to, because there are people struggling to feed their families? So it just goes to show Harry has not really lived in the real world for a long time. And I think what happened is, when his mother died, the royal family probably overcompensated and put bubble wrap round him to shield him from a lot. And they didn't, as one of you good people commented yesterday, they didn't do him any favours by doing that. But they probably didn't envisage someone like Meghan coming along. Now, what is clear to me is that Meghan will not stop. She has her own mental health issues. Meghan will not stop doing documentaries and bitch pieces and complaints in articles until every single living being on planet Earth worships and adores her. And as we all know, that is an unrealistic expectation. She wants to live in a world in which she is the Grand Duchess of planet Earth. And even then, she wouldn't be happy. She would want him to make her beloved by all aliens, which would probably involve him seeking out alien life forms in order to get them to worship her. She's not well. This is never going to stop with her. So Harry, if you are watching this, you are enabling someone who's not thinking straight, I would say. So, and her use of Samantha Markle's daughter Ashley, I really do think was very cruel, especially in the last 3 episodes when she sort of said, oh, I finally felt I could reach out to Ashley, which came across to me like, oh, hi Ashley, you can be in my life again, you can do me a big favour and say some bad shit about your mommy on global TVs and make me look good, could you? That's why I haven't been in touch all this time, because I don't really care, but now I think I've got a use for you. That's really how it came across. I mean, I don't know who edited that thing together. Probably Meghan, because she doesn't see the world the way that we see it. I don't know what the answer is for Harry, but I do fear that if he is driven much further, he is being driven mad. And Harry, a lot of the things you said in the last 3 were like, well, there was only me, Meghan, and so who knew that, and then it got leaked to the papers. And then there's another circumstance with a totally different third party. There was only me, Meghan, and that other third party, and then it got leaked to the newspapers. And there were about 6 stories you told like that were all different third parties. The only common denominators in your stories, Harry, were you and Meghan. Well, it obviously wasn't you that leaked it to the press, Harry. So just think, okay, bear with me, everybody. I'm trying to talk Harry here. Just think, Harry. Cast your mind back. Okay, there was my dad, me and Meghan. And that story got out in the press. And then the next time there was me, William and Meghan. And that got out in the press. And then there was me and my mate and Meghan. And that got out in the press. Harry, get a piece of paper and write down the 3 names in each instance and cross them off when they're not on every single list, okay? And I think what you'll be left with is yours and Meghan's name will be on each instance, and ask yourself, was it you? And if it wasn't you, cross your name off, and whose name are you left with? Right, I think I'll leave Christopher Boozy to the press, because I know what the British press are like, and they can sit off on things for months. Years sometimes. They bide their time, sometimes they attack unexpectedly. It started, and I think Chris Boozy is one of these people who lives in instant Twitter, Instagram world, in the day and age of the internet, where everything happens in a blink of an eye. Doesn't work like that with Fleet Street, or should I say Derry Street. Anyway, lots of food for thought. It's just started raining again. Brilliant. But we're going to go shopping anyway. Have a fabulous day, everybody, wherever you are on planet Earth, and as always, I look forward to hearing your comments below. Thank you for listening.